Hi, it's me, MC. I come to you each week. This is Healthy by George, and I want to tell you something that you might find surprising. One in three older adults is dehydrated. And this isn't really about the fact that you don't consciously think of drinking more water, but it's really about how our bodies really betray us as we get older. And so I want to talk about this and the science of why dehydration as we get older is really a very difficult problem because our body stops sending us, it stops sending us signals that says we're thirsty. So if you have some feelings like you've got brain fog or you feel fatigued more than usual, it may be because you're in that dehydration trap. So please join me each week. This is MC of Healthy by George. We talk about all things about maintaining our health and function well into our 80s and 90s each week. So, why is it important to understand this problem of dehydration in our ability as we get older? So it's a little sneaky is the problem that as you get older, you don't really actually feel thirsty. It's because sometimes the connection between our brain and our nervous systems, they really don't work as efficiently as they did when we were younger. There's no sudden bell that rings, an alarm that says, please give me water. So it's like a triple whammy that age throws at us is that we don't really have that kind of sensory reminder to drink some water or drink a fluid of any kind. So we have something that's called a blunted thirst response as we get older because the nervous signaling that we typically have that screams at us, drink some water, it gets weaker and it's less sensitive. And so studies have shown that we can go hours, even days sometimes without water as an older adult. We don't feel as thirsty. We may have a little drier mouth. We may feel maybe that we just ignored it. And but our bodies are really desperate for some fluid. And so it's like our body has forgotten to ask for us to drink some water. Also, too, our body changes. We're not the young body we were before that had more water in reserve. As you get older, that percentage of how much water you have in reserve is less. And so that means that we're losing muscle, we're losing fat. We have a smaller reserve of water in our bodies than when we were younger. And so, water and drinking more water makes it incredibly important because we become more vulnerable. The third issue is our kidneys. Our kidneys are just not as efficient as when we were younger. They're not as good at conserving water when we need it. But as we age, our kidneys are less functional. Maybe you find yourself losing more water through urination and you're not feeling as hydrated. So, when you have these three things going on, your body has changed, your sense of wanting to drink water has changed, and how your kidneys are functioning has changed. All of these kind of lead to a very challenging problem, which is dehydration. So why is and it can be very silent, which is terrible because it's a serious issue. It's a really serious problem because water, when you think about what is in our body, we are largely a big, large amount of water inside some skin. And almost everything in our bodies and how we function, our digestive system, our nervous system, our heart system, all uses water. So it's very shocking to find out that the two things that are difficult is that one, when you have less water, it makes you age faster. So the NIH did a study and they followed about 11,000 adults for 30 years. And they were following a blood marker called serum sodium. And that the higher sodium that you had in your blood was staggering, especially in older adults. And that these levels at the very higher end, they did show clear signs of faster biological aging. And these levels really are kind of 142 and higher. And it's not really the fact that you're eating more sodium, yes, we do have a lot of sodium in a lot of our processed foods. But the truth is that most older adults were consistently underhydrated. They were not drinking enough water. And so this higher level of serum sodium, it can cause a risk for your chronic illnesses like heart failure, stroke, and dementia. But the damage doesn't stop there. Dehydration is a real robber. It robs you of the ability to focus, to think clearly. It really is a challenge because you don't have that kind of sharpness. Because when they did a study in Penn State, they said even mild dehydration significantly reduces the amount of us having the ability to pay attention. And believe me, we need more abilities to pay attention as we get older. And especially with all the challenges that we might be having, maybe we have some vision loss or some hearing loss. We need to stay hydrated so that we can stay more focused and be clear in our mind and our thinking. So, when you are not drinking enough water, your brain is literally starved for some hydration and it struggles and it can lead you to have confusion, a higher risk to feeling that you are a little bit out of the stability, you could possibly fall. And one of the problems with water is that when you don't have enough water, your brain is really struggling. And it can struggle with thinking processes. It can make you feel confusion. You have a sense of maybe a lack of balance. You have a risk of falling. And of course, the biggest threat is that when you aren't sufficiently hydrated, you can't really stay independent. So we really truly must put in systems that will help us drink more water throughout the day so that our bodies won't have issues that will be a problem because when you are dehydrated, you commonly are more at risk for UTIs, that's urinary tract infections. You're less able to fight off bacteria and viruses. And without enough water, you can't really flush these things out in the normal way. So you're at a higher risk of pneumonia and painful muscle cramps, constipation, and electrolyte imbalances. All of these really put a dangerous strain on your heart. So, how can we help ourselves with not just relying on that sense of feeling thirsty? I've had a lot of things that you can think about trying. And I'm an older adult, and believe me, I have to consciously think about this. And if you're thinking about how powerful it is that you've made it this far in this video, please think about subscribing. I would love to see you here each week. So push that like button, share this video with someone that you think would find it valuable. So, how can you help your hacking your hydration? What's the solution? You got to come up with ways of drinking more water, period. And the best way to do it is to pair it with things that you already do. Like when you take your medicine, drink a whole glass of water or use a straw. I use a straw every day because it makes me drink my water faster. When you take any kind of a meal, drink a whole glass of water. Now, some people get really tired of drinking water, and I get it because it's so plain. Maybe you can fill up a container like this, and then oh, good. This is left over from yesterday for me, and I feel pretty good. I drank almost the whole thing. The other way that you can help yourself is you can also put fruit in your water. You can put berries in your water. You can put it into ice cubes in your water. The other things that I really enjoy doing, which is I like to mix it. I don't, let's face it, water is pretty bland. You can add some lemons, you can add lemon juice. I use vinegar, I use apple cider vinegar in the morning. All of that is a nice way to trick yourself into drinking more water. But I just found these drinks. They're called poppies. And this is a nice little strange drink that's new. I think it's a little expensive. But what I do like about it is that it's only 30 calories. It is a little too sweet for me. So the way that I manage it, it does have apple cider vinegar in it and some cassava root, which is strange. And the sugars and everything are organic, and it seems to be great as far as what I think are good ingredients. It also has 5 grams of sugar. I'm not crazy about that. What I do, though, is I take a little bit of this, I pour it into my whole glass of water. And I have to tell you, it adds a nice kind of fruity flavor that makes you think like you've got a special drink. So think about ways that you can help yourself because truthfully, we need to be drinking that 8 glasses of water. We need to start not only drinking things that are water in a glass, but you need to think about maybe increasing water rich foods such as cucumbers or celery or tomatoes or watermelon and strawberries. All of those have about 85% water. Two, the other thing you can do is you can boost your protein by drinking a bone broth in the morning or a bone broth with your lunch or dinner. This can really help us. And if you build it into a routine, it can be a powerful habit because then you begin drinking water on a schedule. You don't have to set an alarm. You're already doing this throughout the day. Just be conscious about adding your water to something you already do. Maybe after you brush your teeth, you drink a glass of water. Maybe when you are going before bed, you maybe drink a little glass of water so you don't have to pee in the middle of the night. But do anything, maybe you go on a walk. Maybe when you come back for a walk, you drink a glass of water. Do anything that's going to help you remember to drink a little more water so that you're piggybacking it onto things that you already are doing, and it makes it more interesting. So if you pizzazz your water up with fruit or you use a straw or you put some extra flavor in it, do anything to make drinking water more interesting and then piggybacking it or coupling to something you already do. So, when you are doing those things, you're going to start to see already that you're giving your body a wonderful way to slow down the clock on aging and help yourself just be more strategic about your health and well being. Think about it. If you're not dehydrated, your mind is going to feel more clear. Your thinking and your ability to focus is going to be more clear. And ultimately, that kind of clarity, it makes it improve your ability to move and stay balanced. All of that plays a role. So, when you're thinking about water, go ahead and pick something simple so that you can support yourself and not rely on feeling thirsty. Because if you do rely on thirst, you're not going to be fully hydrated. You're going to be in the deficit. So, understanding that as we get older, our systems of regulation are not as clear and vibrant and sharp. So we need to help ourselves so that we can take over that feeling of staying sharp and clear, preventing chronic diseases, and keeping ourselves truly healthy as we get older. So be my friends. We have this one precious life. Let's live it to the fullest. Let's be conscious of our bodies and what we can intentionally do so that we can prevent being dehydrated as we get older. So thank you so much for joining me at Healthy by George. I hope you found the information inspiring and that it encourages you on your wellness journey. Because remember, your body, your well-being are a most precious gift, and every tiny action taken daily can make a huge difference. I hope the information here is educational purposes and is not meant to replace your medical care. See your doctor and talk about what works for you. If you enjoyed today's content, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Your support means the world to me, and it helps me continuing creating content that inspires and empowers you to live your best life. Goodbye for now, and join me again at the next Healthy by George.